this is year 2 for you, Chattanooga FC. Last season, you all went to the NISA semifinals. Let's talk about what it's been like for you in Chattanooga thus far.
Yeah, it's been a great experience, right? Chattanooga is a really cool town. I mean, I actually grew up down in Atlanta, so I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay. You've got a lot of history down here.
Yeah, I went to Southwest DeKalb High School, so I grew up in DeKalb. So I had spent some time up in Chattanooga as a kid, you know. And then when I was in college at Furman University, they had actually Chattanooga UTC had a men's program, so we would come up and play. And so I spent a little bit of time there. But the town is fantastic, and the club's been super supportive. And yeah, it's been very good experience.
Yeah, I was up at Finley Stadium. My first time at Finley Stadium was in 2017 when the U.S. men's national team was playing Jamaica. I was just thinking about that before the show. I remember, I think it was raining that day. It was a little bit muddy, but it was great to see the way that the city of Chattanooga and really the northern Georgia area really rallied around the team and showed up. You know, folks from Nashville were down, but no, it's just a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised. I mean, I really like the town. I've been blessed to sort of live around the world and experience a bunch of different places, and this place is a pretty cool place.
So one of the things that I always notice, because I'm like you, I grew up in Atlanta, and Chattanooga it's always been like a second home to me. You know, my family, we go there all the time. How has I guess the soccer culture there been since you've been there? Of course, you've been there a short time relative to how long Chattanooga FC's been around. But I remember a couple of years ago, probably 2014, 2015, going up there and seeing Chattanooga FC scarves and, you know, different storefronts and stores selling Chattanooga FC merchandise. And it seemed like the city really took to that club. Has that evolved at all in the time that you've taken over? I mean, you've been successful for sure, but what would you say about the whole culture as a city up there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said previously, I mean, I've had a chance to experience different football around the world, and Chattanooga's soccer football culture is fantastic. I mean, it's a real football town in the sense of that, you know, in a lot of big cities, right? Players, the cities don't know the players' faces. No, they know the faces, they don't know the names. But in Chattanooga, players walk down the street, they know who they are. It's an unusual experience for football and for soccer in America. It's unusual because, like, you go into a store, you go into a restaurant. Very rarely you go in and someone doesn't know who you are, and that's a cool experience for the players. And
right,
you know, it's a great support all the way around.
And you could tell by the buzz on Twitter. As soon as Monday happened, it was match week for both teams, and it almost feels like it's a regular season game for both these teams because they're just the crowd's definitely buzzing on the Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, like what's so cool about that is what they do here in the club is, I mean, they have a great communications department that really spends time they're thoughtful. You know, you guys have been around, so you know they're thoughtful about what they do, and it's purposeful to promote the team, and it's purposeful to connect with the fans, and to interact with the supporters club. And that just helps it grow and build. And it really is a unique experience.
So y'all have been signing, it seems like somebody every day for the past couple of weeks. Walk us through some of the faces that we might see as an Atlanta fan that may not be super familiar with some of the faces. And of course you got new guys coming in, but walk us through kind of what to watch out for.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's kind of a unique situation when we're starting preseason pretty early. Give you an idea, before we agreed to have the game, our preseason wasn't going to start till like February 6th. So we're starting a few weeks early than normal. And so it's a unique experience because most of our teams at Division III level aren't really doing anything. So, you know, in a way, we're competing for USL Championship players, and because they're up and running and going, and so that's been an interesting experience. But yeah, some guys that we have coming in, you know, a big guy we signed the goalkeeper of the year. He's with us now. He played at Cal last year, so we've signed him. Gene Anton, that's a big sign. That's a big signing for us. Very, very important signing for us. And then the Golden Boot winner is returning. Marcus Nagelstad. So not too bad, front and back, and hopefully we can get a lot fielded in the middle.
There you go.
We've got in some USM1 players. Joseph Partita, who played at Northern Colorado last year for a bit, we've got him signed, and Joseph Perez is another player from Cal. We've got signed, and then some of our returning players. Alex McGrath he's been with me when I was at the other club, Stumptown. I bought him over from Stumptown, and he's been just a star he's been a stud from day one.
Yeah.
And Richard Dixon is just the mainstay in the club. He's been here probably 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been fantastic. I mean, he's played in championship. So he's a very good player for us. So, and we got some young guys it's all part of this league. You got some young guys, some new guys. You'll see a very significant number of trialists. So we've got a mix of some signed guys and some trialists, but we're a long ways away from getting our team done. I mean, so Colin Stripling, we just signed last night. He returned. So it's a big guy in the back line for us that played a lot of minutes. So, this level is different, right? I mean, there's very few sort of multi-year contracts. So it's usually a 1 or 1-and-1. And so, yeah, it's a lot. It can be a lot of turnover.
They have a lot of local talent on the club as well. So you signed Yahir Paez, you have currently the Rodriguez brothers, all three of those players coming from a really strong Dalton High School program, North Georgia, which is really one of the top programs in the state. Yeah, have the fans kind of connected to those players.
Yeah, I mean, North Georgia's just been superb. Actually, that connection between the club and North Georgia was there before I got there. But the unique thing is the guy that runs it, Kareem Deshir, he was actually the Georgia State coach probably for 15 years. And actually, I was his assistant back in the early 2000s. So we have a long relationship, and that's helped to bring those players in. And we'll probably have 1 or 2 more of their players come in for training on a regular basis. And who knows? I mean, maybe we'll sign 1 or 2 of those players too. So we want to keep that relationship going. I mean, to be in Dalton, Georgia, and to have that program is so unique again, right? And a lot of good talent in Dalton, Georgia.
A lot of hidden talent too. I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is, the talent doesn't just have to come from overseas or even necessarily from college, but especially the Southeast has kind of been such a growing area in terms of soccer. Not just Atlanta United, but the entire Southeast. But Chattanooga, I think, has taken it and done really well with it. I was really impressed last year with y'all's Open Cup match. What stood out to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, walk me through it, walk the folks through it. But you go into a match like that, everybody's looking at it in a certain way, a MLS side versus a lower division side, whatever. But it never, ever seemed like anybody on your team ever looked at it that way. It looked like you came to play a certain style, and it's a very distinct style. And no matter what, you made it work. Now, obviously, scoreline and all that aside, it was to me, a very obvious stamp that you've put on the team in terms of the culture and how you play. And it was effective in the season for sure last year. But I think Atlanta fans can relate most to the Open Cup match. How do you kind of place your culture into the club so that even when you're going against a quote unquote bigger opponent, your guys come out there and perform exactly how you've coached every single time?
Yeah, I mean, the catches, right? I mean, I say this, right? It's just who I am as a person. I mean, look, I love attractive, attacking football. I love to keep the ball. I love to press the ball. We love to just dominate possession. But that's part of my personality. I'm like, I need to be in control of it. So if we have the ball, we're in control. If we're pressing it, we're controlling everything. So,
yeah.
But I just think that the key is right. For my belief is that as you go into these kind of competitions, you only get better by doing what you do. Because what we're not going to do is in the season, we're not going to sit back. We're not going to let the other team have the ball. We're not going to counter. So why do something that we're never going to do? That's just the nature of Can we get better in a circumstance and a situation that we're never going to face in league? Why waste it on doing something different instead of just doing what we do?
And there's something to be said, I think, about that, because like I said, watching that match last year, that was what impressed me. You know, you guys came out, you had a game plan, you stuck to it. And I think it's different. I think some people look at, oh, well, you know, you're playing in a match and you have a game plan and what you're doing is not working. So you got to be pragmatic and change it up. But there's a difference between going out and trying to switch up tactics a little bit than throwing your entire culture to the wind when something's not going your way. And I think that was, and I watched, you know, many of your guys' match last season, and it was the same throughout the season. It was very, very, I say distinct, but you guys do play with a lot of possession. You do want to control the ball, and it's good to see, because some people would maybe argue that, you know, counters and all that could be more effective in certain situations. But when you control the ball and you control it well, it is an attractive style of football, like you said. And I think it was impressive to see. So that's my quick kudos. You know, like I think it was really, really fun to see, for sure. And I think you can see the players kind of draw from that. You can see that they're all on board.
Yeah, because the reality is, right, I don't disagree, right? Yeah, counter can be very productive, but we never took the short view, right? We never took the short view. Let's just beat Atlanta United in one game and put the feather in our cap, right? We knew that if we beat Atlanta United, here comes another MLS team probably, and you know, ultimately the MLS Cup was never going to be something that we're going to get, right? So that was that, to win that one game, that will be awesome, but that's really a short-term gain. Whereas we're looking for the long-term gain of, can we dominate our opponents that we play on a regular basis? Can we get to the point to give ourselves be in the championship conversation all year? Playing Atlanta United in a counter game wouldn't be, because the reality is, the way we played, we couldn't counter against the other teams, because if we gave the ball away to the other team in our league, they're going to give it back to us. So we're going to have to keep the ball anyway. So that's it, you have to just take in a realistic approach to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So for I guess the fans that are coming up, last time this happened was kind of a historic moment for Atlanta, because it was the first time fans got to really see them. So what are some things to see in terms of the football culture of Finley Stadium, all that? What can Atlanta fans kind of expect coming up there this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the Chattanooga, the supporters club, it's very unique, right? Again, with these guys, because, and I keep using the word unique, but it is, because, you know, they're there. I mean, obviously they're not as, you just don't have the people as, you know, some of the bigger clubs do, but those people are there, and they're there all the time, and they travel, right? I mean, I think when we went to California last year we had a 2-game road trip out there. I mean, 20 Chattahoogans travel. They travel and stay the whole week there. So, they're really like committed to what we do there. And they're really special people, because they love the club, right? Doesn't matter who's in the kit, doesn't matter who's on the sideline, they're going to support their club. Doesn't matter who's in the front office, they're going to support that club. And that's what you want. That's what's going to make American soccer really like take and go, when people are just committed to it, regardless if your best player has gone on to another club, you're still going to support your club the way that you would, no matter who was there. And that's something really to see. And look, and I'll be honest, our front office, for what we have, they put on a spectacular event, right? And, you know, it's real important. I mean, and I try to give those guys kudos all the time. I mean, they're set up, you know, right, with the budgets and the structure we have, there's nobody better in our league. And I would put us up against championship teams, and I would put us up against any USL 1 teams in terms of our overall structure of our club and fan support and just what we do as a club in general.
Absolutely.
It sounds like you have a lot of support up there, which is great to see. Just how, you know, Chattanooga FC kind of carries himself as a club. So that's really impressive. Literally impressive. We're gonna cut you loose here in just a second, but I do have one last question in regards to your coaching background. I mean, you've coached in Sierra Leone, you've coached in Jamaica, you've coached in so many different places. So I want to ask you kind of twofold. what was this experience like for you? How did you use those to help you grow as a coach? And then second half of that question, coming from my comment section on YouTube from Niall, do you have any aspirations to coach in MLS someday?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I've had the opportunity. I mean, I spent 8 years at the Portland Timbers back in the USL days, and then the early part of the MLS days, I was there, and you know, really, really good experience there, and enjoyed that. But you know, the biggest thing for me going outside of the country and traveling and coaching around the world was that the culture, right? I'm you know, the game, what I believe in the game is a great unifier. Soccer is probably the most powerful sport in the world to unify people. So you get a chance to like talk to people and experience people that you would never do in your everyday walk of life if you weren't involved in the game. So experiencing new cultures, new foods, you know, new music, new everything, just like taking it on. That's like that's part of what you would say coaching out of the country. Because I feel if you just go to a club because, hey, X club in X country called you and you're just going to go there and you're going to coach in that club, I don't think you really do the club any service by just coming and coaching the club. You need to immerse yourself in the community, get to know the fans, get to know the club, get to know the city, and let it become part of you, right? And let it become what you want. In terms of aspirations, I mean, coaches are no different than players, right? You want to coach at the highest level that's available, right? And whatever comes. But my feeling is that, I mean, I share this all the time. I'm a very religious guy, and God's going to open the door that He wants to open door, and if it opens, it opens. I'm always going to be ready. That's not the issue. I'm not going to be like, oh, the door's open. Let me get ready. No, the door opens. You know, I'm ready to walk through whatever door that God has for me and do my best. And that's all I will ever do is do my best.